my scrappy friends, welcome to the Clique Kits YouTube channel. This is Hannah with you today, and I am going to be making this mixed media layout that is also featured on the Clique Kits blog. So if you want to see more close-ups of this, you may do so over there. I'll make sure I have the link below, as well as some other links that you might just find interesting. So right now I am taking this purple acrylic paint and I'm watering it down quite a bit, and I am just kind of using my paintbrush and just dabbing it. I was inspired by the lilacs that are growing in my yard. I am super happy because I originally am from New England, sort of. I'm from the tri-state area in New York, which is, some may consider not part of New England and some people think it is. So I'll let you determine that. And anyway, so when I was growing up there, lilacs are a big thing in New York too. And so I was very happy to see that we had a lilac tree in the yard that we have now of the house that we bought this past year. So I am inspired by that because lilacs are one of my favorite spring flowers. They just smell amazing and they're so pretty. So now I am taking some of that Shimmerz, putting on the glitz, and it is a Pasteez that has glitter in it. And as you can see, I'm using that cut file, and this is the cut file that Maryam designed for the May challenge. And so this is the cut file just cut out in 12 by 12 in white, just plain white cardstock. So now this is another day. I let it dry overnight, and I'm adding some of the raspberry sherbet pasties, and I just kind of put it over some of just random places, and then I use the Acritonez, and I really like to just like drop this like how I'm doing now. It creates these really nice hard dots that they dry really nice and they don't smudge and they just look really cool. And so I wanted some white, and I used the navy as well because I didn't have black. I don't know, do they even have black? I don't know if they have black, but anyway, I wanted more of that color. And I'm also going to add a little bit of the pink Heidi Swap Color Shine. But then I remembered that I had some of the pink stilettos, and I decided to use some of this. Now this has more of a watercolor look to it as opposed to the Color Shine, which has more glitter look to it. And I sprayed it and I tapped it, and so now I let that dry. I let that dry pretty much overnight, or like throughout the day as well. And so this is very dry. I definitely wanted it dry because I didn't want to get any of the pasties. Takes a while to dry, and I didn't want it to get covered. So I'm trying to figure out, what do I want to use to back this up, because I want to be able to see something. That is the nice thing about using a cut file like this, is that you can see something from the other side. And I thought about using that other dark colored floral because I also have a cut file that I'm going to use for the title that I made up in that color, but I decided not to. I decided to take this green to a blue color. It's like a tealy color. I just really love that. I love this kit so much, guys. I mean, I have so many ideas to use with this kit. It's just so amazing. So, I want to make the most out of this so that I can use some of the leftover of this paper. So I'm going to cut it down, and I want most of the green because I want the green from the leaves of the lilac picture to just kind of, I want some of those colors. And it doesn't have to be the exact green color. Obviously it's not, because, that's green, and this is teal, but I wanted to hit on those same notes. So I'm just covering up this spot, and I really made sure that it was covered. And so now I'm trying to think about what I want to do, because this is still pretty warped and I want it to be really sturdy. I mean, some people don't mind it being really warped, but I decided to, then I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut down this a little bit, and I'm going to end up putting it on some more white cardstock. So it will be backed on white. So it'll be white on white. And I really like the way that that looked. It just cleaned it up just a smidge bit more. And it added a little bit of stability so that I could do some other stuff to it. So I don't always do this. Sometimes I just let it. I mean, and usually whenever you do mixed media like this, if you let it sit in the album in the protectors, it usually gets down to a reasonable, not as warped. But I didn't add gesso, so a lot of the media that I used really soaked in. And as you can remember, when I put on that purple paint, I watered it down, so it definitely had more water that got soaked in. Now I like to use the smooth cardstock by American Crafts, because I find that it's a little bit thicker and it doesn't warp as much as the textured kind, and I really just don't care for the textured, but I use it. I just like the smooth better. So then I took a piece of that dark floral that has a small floral, and I'm gonna put it right on the edge there, on the one edge, and I really like that looks. I just kind of like distressed it a smidge. So now I'm gonna work on some layers behind my photo, because I want just a little bit of something behind there. And I chose this wood grain because I thought that, you know, every nature picture needs to have wood on it. I don't know about you, but that's kind of how I feel sometimes. I don't know, it just doesn't feel complete without some wood. So here is some more of that paper, and I decided to cut off a small piece, and I'm going to add this to one of the sides of the layers, because I have that on the corner, or like on the one side of the layout. And I thought that that would kind of have this mirroring effect, and it would bring that pattern somewhere else. And so now I'm just figuring out what other pattern I want to use. And I really like this paper that has all those phrases and words on it, but I needed something else. So I'm going to cut some of these cut aparts from some of these papers, and it's really sad because I absolutely love that other paper on the other side of this cut apart. It's a corally striped paper, but I really wanted that beautiful, because it's in a nice brush. It's like a nice calligraphy font, and I thought that that would be really cool to mix different fonts together. And then I also really like that teal, minty teal dot. And then I thought about using one of the other patterns, but I'm not really sure. So I'm just going to cut a couple out. I thought about using that card that says bloom where you are planted, I think. Yeah, bloom where you are planted. And I thought about adding that just like on my card, on my layout, but I haven't decided yet. So as you can see, I'm just kind of playing around. And I decide to cut the inside of this so that I can use the other side. I thought, it might be kind of nice to add just a little bit of another pattern. And that pink, just a little bit, if I cut it in half, then I can use half on one side, half on the other. And then I can just have this nice little layer. And I've found with layers that you just kind of have to mix and match sizes and shapes and patterns. And it's kind of based on like your eye, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I'm thinking about adding that beautiful right to the picture, and then I decided let's use that tag. So I printed off a whole bunch of the printables this month, and that is from the Traveler's Notebook kit, and it's just a black tag with some pink on the outside. And so I'm going to use that, and I'm just kind of figuring out which way do I want it. in the end, I'm going to leave it the way that it is there. And so now I'm kind of looking through some of the die cuts because I want to add something else to that corner, but I'm not really sure what. I knew that I wanted to try to stitch on this too, because on the photo, because I have some stitching on the layout as well, and you'll see that in a minute. I stitched a zigzag pattern around where that floral meets the white, and so it looks really cool. So I'm going to use this frame because there's some frames in the die cut pack, and I don't know. I'm horrible with using those frames as frames. I mean, I have done it, and I've done layouts where I use the frames all together, you know, like layered around and stuff. So now I'm just stitching that. And I stitched with that circle too, and that is from the exclusive sheet that Cheryl designed. And then I decided, hey, why don't I stick this on the corner? And I know this is going to make my layout more than 12 by 12. And I know that. And that's okay. Sometimes it's just okay. So I'm kind of playing around with maybe putting some of those pieces like that. I really wanted to use that This Makes Me Happy piece. It's just nice and fun. And it has that same floral or a similar floral for happy as some of the other stuff. So it kind of helps tie stuff together. And I'm really, really, really liking this. So here is the title that I did a brush script font on my own. And then I put it into my computer. So I scanned it and put it into my computer. And then I made I made it into a PNG, and then I took that and put it into my silhouette and cut it out. If this is something that you would like to see me do, a tutorial, put that in the comments below. I'm already thinking that I would like to do that. So, but if anybody is really interested, I really will definitely make sure that I work on that soon so that I can get that for you guys so that you can see how you can kind of alter and make your own things to help work with your kits. Because I mean, the more you can get out of the tools that you have, the more you can make your kit work for you. And I just really love the way that that looks with that pattern. It looks so fun. And so now I'm just kind of playing around. Where do I want this title? I know that the pattern goes right on top of the same pattern. And that was something that I wasn't sure I wanted to do at the beginning. And then I decided, you know what? It's okay because it's mostly on the white and it'll just kind of it'll help it sit there better. It needed something to sit on, so it needed that shelf. And I did use that tag from the printables, and then I'm going to also use some other stuff. So I decided last minute to add cut with these copper Pink Fresh Studio alphas that are really, really amazing. I love the color. I love copper though. Anything copper, my heart speeds up. So I'm trying to think of something else. I wanted one other thing to add because I have that flag on the beginning and I wanted to have something at the end. So I was thinking about part of that strip, and then I was thinking maybe like a part of a tag, and I end up using the tag, and I am going to put something else on the end there. And so you almost don't see the tag. So I guess I didn't need to put the tag there. I could have just left it. But oh well. Oh well. And in the end, I'm going to use my sewing machine again and cut right over, or not cut, sew right over the title. I will say that these Pink Fresh Studio alphas do not go through the sewing machine very well. They moved around and they kind of looked wonky when I got done with them. I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to figure out where I want to put that half a tag. And then I'm also thinking about that beautiful, and I'm thinking I want to stick that over near, so it almost reads beautiful fresh cut lilacs. And I'm going to put some of that tissue paper from our kit underneath that beautiful cut apart, just so you see a little bit more of black and white. Plus, we get it for our kits, so I might as well make use of it. It's so pretty, right? So here's my head. I'm arranging, sorry for my head. I'm arranging the cut because it got all wonky. And so here we go. This is what it looks like, all cut down, or all put down. I really like how this part turned out. So I'm now rearranging to just make sure that I want my photo where I had it. And I thought about putting it up at the top. And so now I'm deciding that I want to put this on some foam or like pop it up. I like to use the foam because it's only a little bit of a dimension and you can cut it more to be the size that you need it to be. So with the tape, you kind of have to cut it differently, if that makes sense. So it's all one spot, you know, there's a bigger spot. So like I said, I thought about adding that and it really would have worked there. It would have worked like that. I just thought that it was too much and you can't see the cut file, and I really wanted the cut file to show. And with all that mixed media, I really just kind of wanted to keep it simple. So I'm not really sure, leaving it there. I did put that, it's a flower for the dot of the eye. And I put that on a pop dot so it would go up. And so now I'm taking some copper thread and I'm gonna bunch this around and I'm gonna add it to a flare. So it's kind of like a nest around a flare, except for it's a really messy nest because I can't make the thread not messy, apparently. And I did put that on a pop dot too because I really wanted it to stand up. And I have so many layers next to that side of the photo that I wanted it to stand up and I wanted you to be able to see it. So I decided to do another nest down there in that bottom. And then I decide, why don't I put this happy here? I'm thinking about maybe using a tag. I need something else to go there. I didn't just want to leave the happy. So I'm just kind of searching around. I'm looking at the printables because there's quite a few circles and stuff. And then I found this Growing Wild and I'm like trying to figure out where I want to put that. And then I remembered we had these rubber charms. So I'm going to move the rubber charm down and I'm going to just use a staple to adhere this. The thing with these rubber charms, you really either need to use red line tape or you need to use like a staple or something like that to adhere it, because if you just use regular like Tombow Mono multimedia glue, say that 10 times fast, it's gonna leave a mark at some point on your page, on your photo, especially photos. So these rubber charms have been known to like leave marks. So I would recommend like if you can use a staple, use a staple because that's gonna adhere it, but it's not gonna completely sit on your page and it's not gonna leave a funky mark, because like who wants a funky mark when they look at their layout 10 years from now? I don't. So I decided to use one of those puffy Maggie Holmes hearts because I have them left over from a couple of kits ago and I haven't really used them, and I thought, hey, that would look really cool. Though I will say in the end, I think it kind of stands out. Maybe I should have put it over near the This Makes Me Happy, but I didn't. Oh well, it's okay. I liked that there was something else there. I thought about putting in like a wood button because I still have those wood buttons from Shimelle, which I put one up near the Growing Wild, as you can see. I'm kind of going fast. I decided to use the word beautiful. That was from one of the printables. And then that flower. And I had a hard time trying to decide where I wanted that flower. At this point, I feel like I'm starting to like go a little crazy. So I'm going to add some of these the copper asterisks, and then some of these enamel dots that are add-ons, and all the add-ons that I use from past kits and this kit. I will make sure I leave links to where you can find them or something like that in the shop, because there may not, they might be sold out of like the Shimelle Woodbuttons or something. But if there's something similar, I'll make sure I link below to those so that you can get your hands on something that is similar and make a really fun layout that goes with your kit, because these are awesome kits. You're going to want to get your add-ons, and there are tons of shimmers in for the June add-on too, so don't forget to check those out and use my code Hannah10 and you can get a 10% discount on all the add-ons that you get. And if you have any questions, don't forget to leave them below, and thank you guys for subscribing and watching. I surely appreciate it, and I know all the other Clique Kit team members appreciate it as well. And I will see you guys later, and I hope you have a great week.